Back in November of 2023, we said our final goodbyes to my family's home, one that I'd spent 26 years of my life at. And my partner and I were expecting to move into our new house that we now live in, but it took an extra 9 months to get the land titled, almost jeopardizing the entire process. So now that we're in this house now, let's go through the journey that it took to get to this. Let's begin. Our new home building journey actually started back in 2021, but by the time we'd secured land and that land was finally titled, that took almost 2 years. In fact, if it took 2 extra weeks, the builder would no longer honor the price we set back in 2021, meaning it would have cost us an extra $100,000 to build the same house we did. Thankfully, the land got titled just in time and I was able to pay for the block of land, and we were able to start our journey in a more physical way. Our hope was that this pile of dirt would become a livable dwelling over the next few months. I even filmed a few shots of my Toyota Echo nearby. You can see that we were one of the first to start building. We were so excited, and after so much waiting and uncertainty, progress was finally being made. Now, my partner and I had a choice. Do we try to find a rental somewhere in a very competitive market, or do we live in Sabrina's parents' backyard in this caravan that needed a bit of work? Well, we chose the latter and decided to do up this caravan and live in it for the foreseeable future. It definitely needed a lot of work, as you can see here. And this would not have been possible without the help of Sabrina's parents and grandpa. Facebook Marketplace really proved useful as I sold off a lot of stuff cheap, just to get rid of it. Even the little Toyota Echo was helping out a lot, but that pile was only going to get bigger. Over many weeks before we actually had to leave my childhood home, I began bringing over boxes and boxes full of stuff to store in Sabrina's parents' shed. And oh boy, I didn't know just how much stuff I'd actually accumulated. And sadly, I ran out of time in the end. I actually had to get rid of and throw out so many things. So if you were one of the lucky ones that went to the e-waste bin I put stuff in, you're welcome. So I gave my van a clean one more time before the sun went down on the final day of living in my childhood home, and said goodbye to the blue-tongued lizards that lived in our backyard. And on the last day, I simply ran out of time, and this is how full my van was. I don't think I could have fit anything else in, and I did actually make it to my destination safely. At this point, Sabrina and I were now living in that old, dilapidated looking caravan, but on the inside it was cozy and watertight most of all. And next to that, I set up a little car carport to protect my van. It did a really good job and the thing stayed clean and pretty much dry. And that thing had to deal with a lot of wind and an insane amount of rain at one point. And I also managed to grab this cactus before I left my childhood home. I had it for many years and it's gonna stay safe in this little pot. And oh yes, while I was in that caravan, I was daily driving that little Toyota Echo that you might remember from a video I did late last year. It got me where I needed to go and was very good on fuel, especially on longer highway trips. After a few months, the house was starting to take shape, with the interior looking a lot closer to the designs we chose. Eventually, caravan life became the norm and we just went on with our lives. And periodically we checked on the process of our house build, which thankfully was only a few minutes drive away. And while we lived in that caravan for over 6 months, I was using a camping chair that was not exactly comfortable to say the least. And now thanks to FlexiSpot, that's all about to change. They've just released their new C7 Ergonomic desk chair and I just love sitting on this thing. It's a lot better for your back than a camping chair or random dining room chair that I was using up until recently. And having good back support and breathable material is so important. The mesh surface is surprisingly comfortable and great for long periods of sitting. The levels of adjustment on this chair have improved my computing experience so much. And no matter how you sit, there's a comfortable position for you. Having an adjustable lumbar is a game changer if you're prone to having a sore back. This is a chair that's built really well, supporting up to 300 pounds, which is roughly 136 kilograms. And if you just want to lounge back, the C7 can be equipped with a footrest, which is something I didn't know I was missing. For those of you that like to tilt back while computing, the seat cushion has the ability to tilt forward. If you're after great comfort and ergonomics, the new FlexiSpot C7 is the right chair for you. It's easy to assemble and a great addition to my workflow. FlexiSpot backs it with a 30-day free return window and a 10-year warranty. What better time than now to grab the new C7 chair or one of FlexiSpot's many other items that they have on offer. There's up to 65% off during their anniversary sale. Use my exclusive code C782150 to get the C7 chair at a discounted price. But while we were waiting for the house to be complete, someone special came to live with us. A little dog just wandered into the yard and started to hang around. She had no collar, no microchip, and was clearly malnourished. And after I gave her a little bit of my Chinese food that I had as leftovers, she didn't leave after that. Pretty quickly, she became part of our family, now known as Minnie. We vaccinated her and got her desexed, and now she is very healthy and a happy little dog. And once we complete our concrete, she can come live with us over here in our new house. I honestly had no intention of getting a dog anytime soon, but sometimes things just happen on their own. Progress had been steady, and so far there'd been no delays. That patch of dirt was now resembling a house. After about 6 months since the builder had started, we'd reached the PCI practical completion inspection stage, and the house was looking really good and, for all intention purposes, pretty much complete minus the reverse cycle AC that they put in at the last minute to deter thieves. And in one of the big echoey rooms, I just couldn't help but do this. The included appliances were to be installed right near the end of the build to deter thieves that target construction sites. Now, we were all set to get our keys and move in, but SA Water had other plans. See, they were supposed to have issued what is called the Certificate of Compliance. We already had running water and flushing toilets that connected to the sewage, and they hadn't issued the Certificate of Compliance. And when I reached out to them, they didn't even know this whole area had running water. That was very confusing. And to cut it short, it took an extra month for us to get in the house because they hadn't issued that particular Certificate of Compliance. And I think the builders around us really lit a fire under their ass because they couldn't hand over all these houses that were being completed because SA Water weren't doing their job. Either way, it was their fault for not doing what they were supposed to, and we got no compensation, which was, yeah, that was good. Finally, the move could begin. And a good satisfying start was removing all the ice that had accumulated in our freezers. And I could finally pack down that little filming set that I'd used in my partner's little study. And now I've, got a proper set, which is good. There was a huge task ahead of me. Just look at the pile of stuff that I had accumulated. And worst of all, there was a lot of dust on everything now and a lot of spiders. So it was a little scary going through the pile. And once again, my van proved very useful during this time. Being only a few minutes drive away meant I could slowly move the stuff at my own pace. My life basically became loading things into my van and bringing them to the house. And to be real with you, I never want to move again. I honestly envy people that don't have a lot of stuff, as my computer collection has made the whole process of moving a lot more time consuming. The daddy long-legged spiders obviously have long legs, but are completely harmless to humans. The redbacks and white tips on the other hand, not so much, and that was a little scary finding those. And this little kitty cat actually helped guard my stuff from mice and rats. So thank you, Mrs. Kitty. And that car shelter that had spent 8 months being battered by wind and a lot of rain at one point had held up pretty good. Until we went to move it, because slightly after that, the whole thing kind of broke. As we were bringing pretty much no furniture with us, there was a lot of assembling and trips to IKEA that occurred. And something that I quickly realized was I couldn't just keep all my items on the ground in the garage, so I started building these shelves from Bunnings. They're pretty sturdy, and I ended up putting about 10 of them in our garage, and I even used one here in the backdrop of this set. I feel as if I could improve this setup quite a bit still, and I realize it isn't a very big room, so things are a little bit tight in here. Now don't get me wrong, I do like cleaning, but finding all the scraps of building material that neighbouring builds had chucked into our yard wasn't exactly the best thing, and pretty much straight away we found that things got dusty and dirty really fast because surrounding us is pretty much a building site. There was also no shortage of screws and nails that were left behind by our builder. We also got our driveway done professionally in a nice exposed aggregate, so thanks to Daniel and his team for doing a really good job and having great communication and competitive prices. I could have definitely made a decent sized box fort out of all the boxes we got from all the furniture we were unpacking, and thankfully we do have a way to dispose of these after removing all the plastic and foam. They will be burnt in a large bonfire in the middle of nowhere pretty soon. And I was not kidding, this is what our doormat was like after about a month or so. That thing had a lot of dirt and dust, so it was fair to say Sabrina and I were pretty busy. Between me working and her working as well as studying, something was bound to obviously happen. So when I was flying to work one day, while the plane was descending, both of my eardrums ruptured. That was actually a pretty bad time for me because I'm actually hearing impaired and wear hearing aids as it is. So imagine having ruptured eardrums as well as being hearing impaired. Let's just say communication was basically impossible, but thankfully my hearing has now returned to what I would consider normal. Eventually the chaos settled down and we were actually able to enjoy this new house that we were now living in. Having our own kitchen is honestly so much fun, and we're going to save the landscaping and things in the backyard to a much later time, but for now it's a great place to drive around a little RC car. It was at this point that the fencing was finally done. What was originally quoted as taking 4 to 6 weeks after we paid the deposit ended up taking 15 weeks. And there was a lot of no communication happening. There were 6 separate times where we were told people were going to come out to complete work and it just wouldn't happen. And I'd have to chase them up and ask what's happening. And I get things, delays happen and all that, but it was not very good on their part. And eventually things did get corrected and poor workmanship was fixed with the fences. And then we could finally get onto something that I deeply regret. Now that we had a secure perimeter, we could start doing our own concreting around the sides and back of the house. So the way this worked between Sabrina and I paid for the land and she was going to pay for everything else. And we thought we'd be able to save several thousands of dollars by doing our own concreting around the sides and back of the house. And while we definitely are and have saved a lot of money, it was incredibly laborious and incredibly time consuming. And none of that concreting would have been possible without the help from Sabrina's father and grandpa. They have a lot of experience doing that stuff, and I have a huge appreciation for the people that do it professionally day in and day out. That is not an easy job, and I never want to touch concrete ever again. We ordered 3 tons of sand and gravel mix at a time, which we then wheelbarrowed into the backyard. We laid down cardboard and metal sheets to keep it separated from the mud pit, which was now our backyard. My shoes weighed a whole lot more afterwards, you could say. And since the weather had been quite unpredictable, we also made the decision to cover the material so it didn't get washed away. It was possible to calculate how much mesh we needed to do the paths, and it's fair to say we needed quite a lot. The ratio we were using was 3 shovelfuls of sand and gravel to 1 shovel of concrete powder, and you'd be surprised just how much material you go through. Now that sure looks tasty. And I was sure to wear a mask as you really don't want to breathe in too much concrete dust. Also, I made the mistake of not wearing gloves early on, which left my hands with many cuts and blisters. The formwork was set up with the same slope to match the exposed aggregate concrete paths we were pouring next to, filling in each section and shaving off the top while it was still nice and juicy. Sabrina's father David was the pourer and leveler, and for the most part I was the mixer, just shoveling away for hours and hours, which I kind of enjoyed and was a good upper body workout, you could say. Once the concrete had settled and dried a little bit, the finishing touches could begin. It was stable enough to do the edging and get a nice smooth finish. Then it was simply a matter of letting it dry and set properly. I felt like I was starting to understand the fundamentals, and we got a lot faster at doing it as we went on. But we could only do a relatively small section at a time, because we were mixing it by hand. By now, I was confident enough to start setting up the formwork myself, getting all the levels and slopes where they should be, and waiting for a clear break in weather during the middle of winter proved challenging as well. The concrete needed many hours to cure. If it was to rain the day after, it would be alright, but the day of laying it down had to be dry. I can safely say I learned a lot through that process, but it's not something I ever want to do again. So here's some things I'd learned after the whole process of building a house. If you're going to build, make sure the builder you're building with is in good financial standings. For them to go bankrupt or go under halfway through could be a horrible experience. Also, be sure to read every contract thoroughly and get it read through by your conveyancer. Another thing is to expect delays and anticipate things to take longer than they were originally quoted. Trust me, it happens a lot. You will also end up with an insane amount of cardboard, so if you've got some children, they could make a nice fort, that's for sure. After living in a new area and being the first ones in for like 6 weeks, I must say it was pretty scary, especially without having fences for most of that, because there were a lot of copper thieves around, so luckily there were a lot of police around that also, tried to make sure that no one was going to steal anything more. There's something else I've noticed while, throughout Australia and around the world, there's a huge push to build more housing. The problem is pretty much all of that land is being bought up by interstate and foreign investors. So, the everyday Aussie or regular person who wants to buy a block of land basically can't. They're almost forced to rent because all of these blocks of land are being bought up by investors that are building, the cheapest houses they can build to rent out. So most people just don't even get a chance to build. The real question is, was it worth it in the end? And I must say, it definitely was. This house we built's worth several $100,000 more than we ended up paying, and what it really cost us was time. We could have bought an established house like 3 or 4 years ago, but ultimately this is a much better investment. It just took a lot longer. Thankfully, throughout most of that, we didn't really have to rent and we were able to live pretty cheaply in my parents' house and then in the caravan near the end. And honestly, Sabrina and I are just loving life being in our own house and having our own space. It's been something we've been working towards for several years, and I'm so glad to see that it has finally happened. And if you've got any questions, feel free to leave them below. And thanks to FlexiSpot for sending over this chair. It's been really good. And also, this desk I use is also made by FlexiSpot, and it's been great as well. You have a good one. Thanks for watching. This has been quite a journey, and I'm so glad that it is pretty much over. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.